To another exciting episode of Stacker News Live. I'm here with my BFF of forever, maybe. Keyan, how's it going?
Forever. That's a long time. But yeah,
I only do forever.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess we're committed to that now. I'm good. How are you, Car?
Pretty good. Been a busy day.
Yeah, you got a lot of podcasts today. This will be your second of four. Right?
Yeah, so we did a TFTC one today with Fedimint, and then we did doing this one. Then we do another TFTC one later, and then we have PBS, but I think Logan's going to take that on. So
cool.
4 podcasts in one day. What's the record?
I don't know. There probably is like a world record, but I guess you would have to say like how long is a podcast? How long does a podcast have to be considered a podcast?
I think as soon as you hit record.
Okay.
How was your week?
My week is pretty good. I found out the AirBNB next to me is actually illegal. And
shut up, dude.
Yeah,
really?
Yeah, it's actually illegal.
How is that possible?
The city of Austin stopped issuing licenses for Airbnbs in like 2016 or something. So they're currently in Austin. There's like data that was released. Currently in Austin, there are 17,000 Airbnbs or short-term rentals, as they're called, in Austin. There are only 2,000 licenses in Austin for Airbnbs.
Well, I know there's like a noise. There's like in our zip code, there's a noise ordinance where I'm at, but
there's a noise ordinance.
I don't think is there a noise ordinance on the east side now?
Yeah, there's always been one. Most cities have them.
I used to party, dude. We used to party crazy. We used to throw shows, like house shows. I don't think there was a noise ordinance until here recently.
Oh, okay. Well, the whole city of Austin has no noise ordinances. But I mean, beyond, so it doesn't even matter if there's a noise ordinance anymore and how much they break that law. They just existing, they break that law. So I'm pretty like chipper.
Do you think that Airbnb is aware of this and they're breaking ordinances like all over the place? Or
they're probably well aware that they have hosts on their platform that are breaking local city codes everywhere. They probably have some kind of policy where it's like not their problem. And
I feel like you just uncovered some good piece of journalism. Somebody investigate.
I think I've heard rumors in the Twitter anti short-term rental community that there is a journalist from The Guardian doing a story on Austin's Airbnb problem. Dang. But that more to come from that.
This ongoing saga of Airbnb.
Yeah, I just wanted to let the stackers know. I think
yesterday at BitDevs, somebody threw the bounty out there for Super to go create a decentralized Airbnb. So.
Oh God! Please don't. I wanted to say like no, but
yeah, we're gonna dive into the top 5 stories of the week and then wax poetic about Stacker News. Keyan, let's get it going.
All right. So top story of the week is Alex Gladstein's AMA. Really happy he came. He's the CSO of the Human Rights Foundation. The S standing for strategy. But a pretty good AMA. He didn't answer all the questions because he only stopped by for I think he only had a half an hour to really stop by, but really cool that he did.
Did he answer? I didn't go back and check if he answered mine.
So he didn't answer his fiat jobs. He answered yours, or no, someone else answered yours. But you were asked, you wanted someone to follow him around and kind of see all the work that he's doing.
I think from a historical perspective, it needs to be documented. I think he's doing important work, and it'd be a tragedy if it's not televised.
I think I read your comment when you posted it. I think that's a great idea. I think there's like a little bit. It's really easy to miss all the stuff that he's doing, and you kind of get it in the long essays that he does. But it it's a long essay versus a documentary, especially as it relates to Bitcoin. For Bitcoiners would be good, but in general, like the work that the HRF does would be awesome. I think it'd bring a lot of like visibility to
for sure
the problems they're solving.
It would show Bitcoin in a great light too.
It's pretty good.
He answered Jimmy's?
He didn't answer Jimmy's Song. Someone else answered Jimmy's Songs, but Jimmy Song wanted to know whether like how do we get the political left to embrace Bitcoin, given that Alex is probably more tightly associated with them than other Bitcoiners are.
Who is Level 99 Slacker? He seems to be answering all
Level
the questions.
99 Slacker is a really interesting Stacker News user. He professionally does like drug trials. like where he's like a person. If there's like a new antidepressant out there, he will get paid to take the antidepressant and like report any side effects and stuff.
Wow.
It's pretty cool. We had like a little, like he had like kind of a joke AMA in the daily discussion and was like, I do drug trials for a living, AMA. And it was pretty cool. But he makes like 50 grand a year just taking.
It sounds like the stack. It sounds, I saw you, I don't know if you tweeted it out or where you had posted, but like you're asking like who should we do AMAs on? Maybe we should do some of these like on stackers. Like that would be cool to see like what their story is, and I don't know.
Ooh, just stacker, like a stacker spotlight.
Yeah, like a stacker spotlight, and get like some stackers to go in there and like answer some questions.
That'd be cool. But it's a pretty good. He responded.
Yeah, look at that. It's like I need to go back and read it this weekend. I'll read it before you. Or when you do the newsletter.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, it lists out like things that are favorable to like people on the left, like the censorship resistant money, permissionless is good, etc. And they really feel like the main, like we need to communicate that better. And then also the energy stuff, like the energy FUD is the main kind of points. But here we'll get into some actual Gladstein answers. Now to ask about Fedimint and stuff and about decentralized inheritance. So like inheritance is like, I feel like one of the bigger unsolved problems with Bitcoin, and Gladstein agrees, really wants it to happen. Also some kind of stabilized Bitcoin thing is a bounty, an open bounty for HRF right now. Nat also asked about North Korea and like
he answered that too. Or?
Yeah. He said basically the best thing we can do with North Korea is get more information into North Korea, because that's kind of the biggest problem, or like probably like the highest leverage thing is to just allow North Koreans to have information that they're not allowed access to. So they have this flash drives for freedom project that like literally like smuggles in flash drives with information into the country for people to kind of learn about what's actually going on outside of North Korea. But overall, a great AMA. The answers, or the questions he did answer, were really well answered, and you get a lot of insight into like these kind of geopolitical things and that Gladstein focuses on.
Yeah, he's a really impressionable person. I met him, a handful of times already at this point, but we did a speaking with him at the Bitcoin Commons, and that was a lot of fun doing that, because he brings a different type of crowd, I would say, to like the Bitcoin space. You really see it, especially when you see it live. He should do more live shows for sure.
Yeah, cool. He makes the case for Bitcoin in a very unique way that I feel like most other Bitcoiners aren't making it. Like I feel like we broadly touch on this permissionless thing, but most of us are speaking from a very Western perspective, which just doesn't hit the same way as like, hey, I'm in the Sudan and they have unworkable money and most of them are unbanked and they can't live their lives, but Bitcoin could help them live their lives. Like that's a way different thing than like, my government is inflating my money at 10%, and which is bad, but it's not nearly as bad as it is in some of these other countries.
Yeah, more bridges. Bitcoin needs more bridges, and he's definitely one for sure.
Yeah. Second top post of the week is this post from HJ. It's a pretty cool, like kind of transition. It's a nice transition from the Alex Gladstein thing, because basically what he's saying is, yes, in the Western world, maybe Bitcoin has like not a ton of value, and maybe you don't absolutely need it in the Western world because our money is actually functions fairly well, and most of us are banked, etc. And they did a really great job of like formatting the whole thing, and I was really impressed by that.
Dude, is this Markdown?
Yeah, this is all Markdown.
How did he get it in Markdown?
He just did it. He did a really good. He put the images and tables, and then added a table row for the description. Can we get
instructions on how to do this effectively? That's always been my biggest thing, is like, how do I make it more?
He also did he also even did footnotes in it.
Look at that.
Yeah, pretty good.
Gorgeous.
I mean, I've recently enhanced headings and stuff and images in
cool.
In Markdown. But
how does Markdown work? Does it get stored somewhere as far as the
Yeah, I store the Markdown on the back end.
Okay.
And then I render it into HTML. So I take the Markdown and convert it into HTML, and I can control how it's like formatted in HTML.
That's really cool.
But anyways, basically this post is about yes, in the United States, maybe you don't need Bitcoin at the moment, but if you're not in the United States, you do, and you need it more the further away you get it from like the Western world, and it's kind of a nice contrast. He like starts out like you're in the Western world, maybe you don't need Bitcoin for such and such reasons, but look at all these countries where all of these arguments where you say Bitcoin isn't useful, it actually is extremely useful, and it was one of the top posts of the week, and pretty good. There's a fair bit of discussion around it, which was good. But yeah, overall great post, and love seeing like more high quality kind of bloggy stuff in here that are like formatted well.
So HJ, wow, shout out to HJ for making a beautiful article on Stacker News. That's what it is.
Yeah, another Czech stacker. He gave this. Apparently, this is a transcript from his lecture he gave in Czechoslovakia.
Oh, cool.
Or in the Czech language.
I love the resource links.
Yeah. Footnotes. Great stuff. Cool. So that's a second top story. Third top story, which is like a big story across Bitcoin in general.
Yeah, what are they saying about? I don't really know what the entire Bitcoin Twitter is saying about it. I kind of know where Stacker News leans on it, because I feel like you get two different opinions from those communities.
Sometimes, yeah. It seems like there's like universal bullishness on it. I haven't, based on Twitter, I haven't heard. There's some people who are very skeptical of any type of custodianship at all, and that's mostly what I got. That's like most of the like FUD around Fedimint is that it's custodial at all, and that there is more trust being placed in the custodians. But it's you can't really argue it's worse than a traditional custodian or an exchange that's custodying your coins. It's very obviously better than that, both from like a privacy perspective and a trust perspective. It's much better, and yeah, it's really cool. I mean, it's particularly interesting to people who maybe want their money to do more smart contracty things too, because within these, it's presumably within these mints, you can have like smart contracting languages that dictate how the funds kind of move around and when or whatever. And you don't really need, because you're already putting trust in the custodians or the federation of custodians, you don't really need to have like a blockchain with it. You can kind of trust them to run these things. And it's really interesting. It's a very nice gray area. And I think gray areas are great for getting like wider adoption. Like if you hit the gray areas right now, we kind of have black and white with custodianship. You either self-custody or you trust Coinbase.
Yeah.
And this is somewhere in between. And
what are the stackers saying at the bottom?
Yeah.
Are they,
people excited in general, because most of us have heard about Fedimint for a long time and we're excited about it, but it's nice to see someone is funded to work on it. It means that there's going to be like, pretty much someone is incentivized to make meaningful progress on delivering a product. So Rijdale. Rijdale. I bet there's like a Rijdale in there. But yeah, they raised 4.2 million, which if you like try to do like backwards math on it, it's like maybe they had a $21 million valuation.
Oh, wait. Say that again, slower.
Like if you do math
do you have insight into how this worked out or what?
No, I have no insight at all.
Oh, it's just coming from your brain.
It's just coming from my brain.
So what are you saying then?
I'm like, I'm wondering, I'm trying to figure out what the valuation of the company is given how much money they raised. Because this is 20% of $21 million. It's 10% of $42 million.
How do you know they gave up 20% though?
I don't. But that it's a fairly common amount to give up in a round is like 10 to 20%. So they could have given up 10, they could have given up 20, they could have given up 5.
20 seems like a lot though.
20 is a lot. So it could be 42. They could have had a valuation of 42 million.
Why the 0.2 then?
Because it's 10% of 42 million is 4.2.
Ah, wow. That's good backwards math you did there.
I mean, it has 40, and it's also 4.2 is 2 times 2.1, which is 21 million, which Bitcoiners have this like.
Oh, so you think it was like a little?
They're doing a little bit of that stuff.
Tip to the hat of the 21. That makes sense.
Maybe, I don't know.
Dang, look at you. I think Fedi is kind of cool, like because it's like when I talked to Justin about it, just like our conversations here, and I'm sure you won't mind me saying it, but like he more like told me and pitched it to me like as a community bank that's going to do all these things. Yes, there's this other aspect to it, rug pulls and stuff like that. We just did a pod this morning with Marty and the Fedi team. It doesn't get released till Monday, so tune into that because like Marty always is very transparent.
I thought I saw it on Twitter already.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we haven't published it yet.
Oh,
but yeah, definitely tune into that. But what was I going to say? I forgot what I was going to say. But
you're talking about Justin and how.
Oh yeah. So he was like pitching it as like a community bank thing where you could have it, and then it interoperates with Lightning, and then uses that to transact payments.
That's also very cool.
And then I think at the end of the day, though, like just from my perspective, this is just Car's perspective, it's a good R&D project for Bitcoin. At worst case scenario.
Yeah, worst case scenario. Yeah, everything is a good R&D project for Bitcoin that gets built on Bitcoin.
So it's good to see that a lot of people threw money at this project to let them go and do this R&D for Bitcoin, even if it's not successful.
Yeah, and they raised this money in what we presume to be the bottom of a bear market, and so it's very bullish for the company in general. And I think there's a lot of promise in it. It's definitely a huge step away from like a typical custodian situation. And that's awesome.
Yep.
Cool. They have their website. Here's the team. We have Obi, who presented at Bitcoin conference in Miami. Justin Moon, who started Austin BitDevs, which is very popular, since like kind of stepped away from that. El Syrian, Eric Syrian. I don't know much about him. And there's someone anonymous, and I'm kind of curious who they are.
You don't know who that is?
No.
Okay.
You know who that is? Oh, wow. Were they on the call with Marty?
I can't say anything.
Okay. All right. But pretty cool. And you can get a little insight into what they're working on by looking at the jobs. They're hiring a mobile engineer, which means they're like building like a mobile wallet for this thing. And then also someone to work on the back end.
Oh, Rust. Oh, cool.
Yeah, they're building it in Rust. It's all built in Rust.
I love the logo though.
It is a cool logo. I think they have a different one now. I saw on Twitter somewhere.
No, I think it's that one. I think it's that little. A lot of us in the Bitcoin space have been playing with this kind of like
Fedimint.
This style of like what do you call that? I don't know the word for it. I just know when I see it. But it's.
So this is, I think,
if you go to the Bitcoin.
So this is another logo that I've seen for this.
If you go to the Bitcoin magazine article, the logo's in there. But yeah, it's this style of, you probably know the technical word for it. I only know it by what it looks like.
Where's the logo?
All the way down. All the way down. Oh, I guess do you remove it? Or? It was in there earlier today. That's weird. But you see it on the website. If you go to the website, not that one, the other website you were just on. Yeah, so you see that back. It's almost like a hologram effect.
Yeah,
like a lot of us have been playing with this kind of like thing. I mean, we used it for Bitcoin plus, but like I feel like the trend is kind of moving in that direction for Bitcoin as far as design and stuff.
This seems to be wider tech design too, to be using a lot of hologrammy stuff. Yeah,
interesting.
Yeah,
I haven't really. I don't look at that stuff.
Yeah. Cool. So other top story is John Cantrell had an AMA. I was really excited about this AMA. I learned a lot about John Cantrell's background that I didn't learn.
Dude, this was pretty epic AMA. This was my favorite AMA of the week. He just answered every single question out there.
Yeah, it was really good.
I threw him a softball. What did you ask him?
Oh, I asked him a bunch of stuff, but we'll go over some of the top stuff. But so KR asked him about spiral grant process, and it seemed to be like very flexible. He went in trying to work on DLCs and then ended up doing LDK, BDK stuff, and that eventually led to Sensei. He even has the proposal. He links to the proposal for Vintage here. What does he think the biggest obstacle is? He thinks it's mostly education, which I think is right on. Yeah. Even Kyle came in here and asked a question because Cantrell is an advisor to Pleb Lab. But he said the most important that helped him succeed was always trying to align his work with his interests.
That is something that I didn't realize that I did. That I was glad that I saw that he said that. Kyle does that too.
Yeah,
you do that too.
Yeah, like I learned to do that because for a long time I didn't do that. It took me a while to learn that.
That's kind of cool that he asked that.
Yeah. Lots of cool stuff in here. I mean, the whole thing is great. It's like gold.
Oh yeah, you asked him this question. This was the question I really loved.
Yeah, this was the question I asked him. The one that I think got the greatest response out of him. But he said I asked him what his first startup was because he mentioned he had an 8-figure exit from a previous startup, which I didn't know about John. Like I had interacted with John before, and I could see that he was really executing really well on Sensei, but I didn't know that he had the startup background. I thought maybe he was at like some like FANG company or really? Very early, maybe, very at a FANG company, early involved in Bitcoin, transitioned into Bitcoin, became Bitcoin rich or something. I didn't realize he had a startup background. I mean, implied in his execution of Sensei he had a startup background, but I didn't know. Anyway, but he was working on a Bitcoin company in 2014, and then like kind of pivoted away is what he says here. He said at the highest level, we were helping merchants sell more goods by building better relationships with their customers. And then John and I had a little back and forth in a private DM, and he like explained more because he's kind of a private person, but really cool story to this startup journey and this success, and like how he ended up figuring like getting his way to success there is really like demonstrative of his thinking skills and like him as an executor in person. And so that much more bullish on Sensei and what he's doing there. Really cool.
Yeah, there's so much good nuggets. Yeah. Like in these AMAs, this one especially, there's just so many. He answered almost every single question.
I'm pretty sure he did.
Man, I love when you do this a lot. Like I love devs that are very transparent like that. To me, that's like the number one thing you want to do when you're building. It's like be very transparent about everything. I love devs that do that, and he's clearly one of them.
Yeah, it's very useful to be. We have like this technology to share, so we should share.
We should share it.
And people want to hear this stuff. Like I don't know how many people like just simply sharing my deck. Like so many people have been like, "Thank you so much for sharing your deck. I'm using your deck as like a template for me to build my own deck." Really helped me understand like what I need to present to investors. Like just stuff like just yesterday at BitDevs, I had someone be like, "Hey, cool. Thank you so much." Yeah. And that happens in my DMs all the time.
I'm the same way with everything I do too, and it's kind of to you and Super's credit. Y'all taught me that early on. Was like just like be transparent about what you're working on, like who you're helping, like stuff like that. It's just like this openness that I really love about you guys.
I mean, being human is like you. Part of being a human is like getting in trusted relationships with people. Like we can't be Bitcoin. We're not operating at a Bitcoin scale as people. We enter trusted relationships with people, and being transparent is how you end up trusting someone. Like they're transparent. You trust that they're always going to tell you things that are going on, and they're never hiding anything from you. So it allows you to trust them. They're not lying to you. They're not hiding information. It's that you trust them. Yeah. But overall, fantastic AMA. Highly recommend going through it and reading it, especially if you're building stuff.
For sure, if you're building stuff.
Yeah. Very cool. And keep an eye out for more stuff coming from Sensei.
Yeah.
Cool. This was another top post. It was a very good post. It stayed on the top of the page.
Tamales? Is that his name?
Tom, I pronounce it as Tom Lays.
Oh, Tom Lays. I'm sorry, Tom Lays. I read it as tamales. Even though it doesn't spell tamales.
Yeah.
It looks like it. I'm hungry. It's been a long day.
Yeah, for sure. He said he's just kind of a little bit disgruntled over the fact that he thinks about Bitcoin so much. And I think we can all kind of relate to this. Like, we maybe are like hyper focused on it. It's become like such an important part of our lives that it's like nearly exhausting. And he feels almost like he can't stop thinking about it.
What problems did he address that he's having?
He says, I waste my time listening to Bitcoin Pause and watch YouTube videos and procrastinate on Bitcoin social media. He kind of instead he wants to he views like one of the values of Bitcoin that you have this money and you don't have to worry about it, and it kind of stays in your possession.
In Bitcoin. Is he already building in Bitcoin?
He might be. I'm not too sure. I don't know much about him, but he's an active poster. I don't really recall him being tied to any particular project. He might not work in Bitcoin yet, but that might just make this problem worse, though.
I think that's kind of what I can relate to that. Before I started working in Bitcoin full time, where you think about it all the time. You're at your fiat job. You're
not getting paid for it.
Well, you're at your fiat job and you're thinking about it then, and then people know you as the Bitcoin guy in the office, and I don't know if that's his.
True.
But that's me. That's how I was, and then I just jumped head first. Yeah.
Maybe it drives you kind of crazy, the fact that you're hyper interested in this thing and no one around you is interested in it.
Maybe you should come build on it.
Maybe you should. A lot of people have some great responses. A lot of people agreeing with him, simpatico on it. My point of view is that it's just like a product that's being early. Like I think early people who are early in the internet probably obsessed over the internet as like an abstraction and how powerful it was. You go back and you listen to some of the interviews of early internet people. They're like, oh my God, this is going to change the world. And they're just like, super excited about it. But I think,
how does it work for you? How does it work for you as far as like, how do you avoid this?
I don't really avoid this. I just let it kind of consume me. Why not? I see no disadvantage. I mean, I love it. I don't.
I think for me, like I've gotten into a routine like that I break down for my day, and then I just do it, and then I just I enjoy the process now. I think before, in the beginning, it was really tough for me to manage all that stuff, but now it's like enjoy the process, enjoy your day, and then call it a day at a certain time. Don't get too overwhelmed. It can always wait for tomorrow.
Yeah, I think there's some good stuff in here. Gigi mirrors that sentiment very well in here somewhere. He says nodes can leave and rejoin the network at will. He says true for nodes, true for people, and so you can step away if you need to, and pick up a hobby, go for walks, read a book, and Gigi knows that better than anyone.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Cool. This is my top story of the week. It's about.
Of course it is. You love scandal.
I love scandal.
You love scandal.
I love scandal and drama.
You love scandal.
I do love drama. But this is the Justice Department. I guess doing the first insider trading thing at Coinbase.
Dude, we all knew this was going on. Like when I was in the shitcoin space, everybody knew this was going on. Like in 2017, 2018, this is not surprising. Didn't Charlie Lee do this too? Like when he worked at Coinbase and he had Litecoin, that he introduced Litecoin there, and it was all kind of, oh, that's interesting. Litecoin was the first one, and then Ethereum, they had gotten some Ethereum first.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it wasn't so clear at that point that these things
were totally clear back then.
I mean, it was clear there was insider trading, but it wasn't clear these things were actually securities.
There wasn't proof.
Yeah, there also wasn't
people
proof.
were talking about it.
Yeah,
but there's actual proof now.
Yeah, we're I mean, it's very easy to see like a lot of the evidence, like, so this particular story, what ended up happening, there was a Coinbase employee who worked on the asset listing team. He was a product manager, a project manager there, and he was leaking the asset list to two of his friends, is what ended up happening. And
whoa!
So there was a big asset listing that was going to come out. It was like dozens of coins, dozens of crypto assets were going to get released. And he leaked that list to his friends. It was going to be listed on April 11th. And then apparently one of his friends, prior to that announcement, bought hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of these tokens. And it was noticed by, I think, Kobe on Twitter. He noticed an abnormal amount of trading activity. Like the day this announcement released, he's like, wow, look at all this trading activity that happened 24 hours before these assets were actually listed on Coinbase. Like that's extremely suspicious and suggestive of insider trading. And so after that got announced, Coinbase, that tweet got kind of popular, and Coinbase then acknowledged that this might actually have happened, and then
they investigated.
They announced they were investigating. They were going to call this guy Ishan Wahi into Coinbase's offices in Seattle, but he attempted to flee to India. But the biggest mistake he made was he told Coinbase, "I've already left to India. I can't come to your meeting where you're going to deal with me." But he actually didn't leave to India yet. And so I guess Coinbase told the feds that this guy was fleeing to India, and they knew that he hadn't actually gone yet. Then they apprehended him, I believe, at the airport when he tried to leave for India.
Gosh.
But this is like the first actual, I guess, indictment, you would say, or like actual arrest, I think, related to insider trading in
this is where it's
crypto.
Like, just go back to the basics, man. Like, be a good person and don't do bad things. Like, it's not harder than that. Like, if you have to stop and hesitate for a second, like, wait a second, is this a bad thing I'm about to do or a good thing? Like, maybe don't do it.
Yeah.
Right? Or sleep on it. And then like wake up the next morning and like say a prayer and think like ask God maybe, like it probably is going to hit you with like, it's a bad idea. Don't do it. Like, I don't know how you go through those different things. And then it becomes this.
I think most people,
it's an unfortunate story because like, I'm sure he's a young guy. I'm sure he had good intentions of just making, fiat money, but like, I feel bad for him because like, that's a lot of, who knows what's going to happen to him, and his life is in jeopardy now.
This will be like a Ross Ulbricht type of scenario where they probably make an example out of him.
You've put your life on hold when you go to these like all the stuff. So hopefully everything works out for him and it doesn't waste too much of his life to go off and like pay for these things.
Yeah,
it's always unfortunate when people have to end up in jail. I'm never going to champion that.
Yeah, it sucks. Hopefully he'll just get fined or something. But
hopefully.
I mean, also this is bad behavior. That he basically dumped. When you do insider trading like this, you're dumping on people who are outsiders. He's an insider. He's dumping on people that are outsiders. It's bad when you're doing insider trading. It feels like it perhaps doesn't feel like that's what's going on a lot. I mean, but this is what happens in a lot of these crypto things where. These pre-mines, all these kinds of things. It's a lot of dumping on people that are later. It's kind of like Ponzi structure. Anyway, another reason why I wanted to share this story was that it got shared. The link to this link got shared. Stacker News got shared on Hacker News yesterday.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, it created this shark fin. If I were better at Photoshop, I would have made like a Jaws graphic out of this but it created this.
So that's the Hacker News bump that we got.
This is a Hacker News bump I got. It drove like 10,000 people to Stacker News.
That might not be a good thing.
I'm not sure it's that bad of a thing.
No,
because we didn't even get that many account creations.
But didn't Hacker News didn't they already know that you exist, right? Because I think you've been shared on Hacker News before. Maybe it was last year. I want to say.
We've had some traffic from Hacker News, but they don't.
And then
care.
they like shitted on it, like the whole time.
Yeah,
I remember that.
Yeah, they might. But if there are any like Bitcoin, users on Hacker News, they are now more aware of Stacker News. I don't think they're like the whole community is widely aware of Stacker News.
I don't think you're ready for people from Reddit and Hacker News yet. I think that'd be right or no? What do you think?
I think we're good. We still have all of the kind of mechanisms in place to like prevent really, bad behavior, and like that tooling we can keep improving that.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
This is the first,
it's a nice, I just really like the shark fin, but yeah, you can see how much traffic they drove. Yes. So nearly 9,000 visits.
Wow. I need to start posting on Hacker News.
Yeah. If you get into the top page, it's crazy. They have a lot of traffic. I would guess they have like hundreds of thousands of people on their site a day. Pretty cool. Here's your...
Oh yeah. So Base 58, our friends over there are going to be doing a summer coding, like deep dive sessions into like everything that's going on. And I think the first one was Core Lightning. Second one was Fedimint. And the third one is coming up today, actually going on probably right now, the Raspberry Blitz. And then they're posting everything at BitcoinTV and I think YouTube. So definitely check it out. We did a post earlier this week on Thriller Bitcoin, just kind of a roundup just to get people to know about it. So for sure.
Cool. That's awesome.
Free information on coding.
Free education, promotional content. Can we get them a new logo, by the way? Has anyone talked to Lisa about that?
I kind of like that logo, to be honest with you.
I mean, if you're going for that bad aesthetic, so bad it's good, I agree.
Really? The guy with the briefcase?
The briefcase is gone. We'll see that in a second.
Let's show him your. After I've been complaining for years.
Okay, we finally got rid of the briefcase.
Look, he finally got rid of the briefcase. Can we get a round of applause? Thank you.
No one except us have uploaded logos yet, but the briefcase has now been replaced with a logo or a placeholder if you don't use the logo, and so the briefcase is gone forever.
Yeah, this is much better. I like the jobs. Yeah. Oh, there you go. Look at that. You have an apply button?
Now we have an apply. Before it was a little link.
Very nice.
Yeah. So now you can.
Look at you.
That's right.
See, this is one thing where most people.
Look, Stackwork just updated their logo.
There you go. This is the thing that Keyan, that most people don't realize about Keyan, but when he really focuses in on the aesthetics of Stacker News, it just makes it that much more enjoyable.
Yeah, the aesthetics are important. We'll be focusing more on that in the future.
I know you don't have time for that, but
yeah,
when you actually do put your brain power on it, it's kind of cool.
Yeah, you have to iterate a little. I mean, design is an easy thing to discard upon first iteration. And I think it's a fair thing to discard because it's maybe not the most important thing about your product. It becomes really important as time goes on, and you want to make sure you're constantly revisiting. But I think first passes can have poor design.
Yeah, I disagree. I think you need
enough. You need enough.
Yeah, you definitely need like a full on like look.
Yeah. It
needs to be tasteful. It can't just be like whopped together in 5 minutes.
No, it can't be atrocious.
Yeah,
but it needs to be like at least like 80% maybe the way they're. Yeah.
That's fair.
Anyway, that's a job. Anyway, new jobs. The biggest new job.
Did Pump come back?
They did not come back. They're down here somewhere.
We could use the sats.
Here we go. Yeah, they took their sats off. Let's get those
Pump crypto jobs back in.
I think Pump crypto jobs got sold.
What?
Yeah.
To who?
I don't know. Someone bought them. I saw something like.
Was that part of the whole thing that happened a couple weeks ago, where he sold like all? That would make sense.
I think so. I think they got. I think they sold. It was like they sold for like $10 million or something.
Coinbase, where
maybe. Yeah. They got sold to someone. But one of the new jobs is Bitcoin Park is hiring for an operations manager.
Yeah, I was just there last week.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place, right?
It's very nice.
Yeah,
it's very nice.
You'll be in contact with Rod, who's running it, and pretty cool. Check it out.
Bonus? You get a bonus? Look at that.
Do you? Where?
Right there. It was up. Fixed hourly and bonus.
Cool. Contractor position. If you're a Bitcoiner, you're not a programmer, you want to work around more Bitcoin stuff, check it out. Other jobs. Stackwork is still hiring for listening to podcasts. Plebeian Technology still looking for a remnant and a software engineer. Bitrefill, the full stack, more stack work stuff, listening to podcasts and videos.
For sure.
And we are doing user interviews again. So if you guys want to earn some sats doing user interviews, check that out. Other things we usually cover are weekly stats. So
what's it looking like this week?
You can see we didn't get many Hacker News users actually to sign up, which is I think suggestive of
you need amount of touches, right? Like
exactly.
They need more touches.
Exactly.
That's all that is.
That's a good way to say that. Yeah.
After about the 5th or 6th touch, I think is when it actually clicks for them.
Yeah.
So
quite a few spenders and stackers. A lot of comments. Comments are kind of taking off. We're now over 75% comments in terms of items, and then a lot of people are boosting, but this isn't suggesting that, but it's showing like where the sats are mostly coming in from. So posts earned about a third, and rewards earned about a third, and comments. I feel like
these days I spend very little on Twitter. It doesn't do anything. It's just arguing all day. I've been using Damus more. I really like what William's doing over there in the team. And then I've been using Stacker News for all the signal at this point. Like, to me, Twitter's is just especially during a bear market, it's just like, what's the point? Sorry. I hate to be that guy, but it's just the truth. Right now, I'm using it mostly as a note-taking app and for thoughts.
Yeah, what it was originally intended for.
It's a great note-taking app. I don't know have you ever used it for a note-taking app? Because everybody ignores it, which is cool. So you can just put like all the stuff that you want to go back to and look at later and be like, oh yeah, I was thinking that on that day. Okay. And it's a great note-taking app. It's probably the best note-taking app.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting point of view. I think you called it a microblog, and that's really what it's supposed to be.
It's a microblog too.
That's really what it's supposed to be. It turned into like
really?
Yeah, that's what it was initially designed.
I didn't know that, but it's great for that. It's just like I can have real conversations with Bitcoiners.
Yeah.
In Austin.
Yeah.
In Nashville.
It wasn't ever intended for conversations. It's just like people started kind of using it for them. And now
there's just more high level conversation in Stacker News.
It's just longer post form. It's more like designed for conversations. The last thing one of the things we cover last is like how many people are stacking. I stack quite a bit, but don't count.
Look at you.
John Cantrell.
How are you stacking that much?
Rewards. So I'm like one of the more active users, obviously, on the site. And I upvote tons of content. And so this is how one way you earn rewards on Stacker News now is actually by tipping people. So if you aren't tipping and you aren't tipping people early, you're like missing out on rewards. So I like look for the best content, look for the best comments, and try to get there as early as possible so that I help other people find it. And then Stacker News' reward algorithm rewards me for it.
Cantrell under 122. Is that the most there's ever been for AMA?
No, Lisa's did like 150, pushed 150.
Oh, so he's 30. He was 30,000 sats behind.
Yeah, we can see.
All-time high.
We can see maybe. So Lisa so far has stacked 164, and I think a lot of those came from her AMA.
Wow.
But
that's a lot of sats.
Yeah, looks like so out of all the AMA guests, she is definitely the highest.
And then I guess Fiat Joff.
Fiat Joff is probably the second.
Somebody needs to go break that 164 barrier.
Yeah, GG also very high.
Adele got pretty close. Oh, Adele, yeah, he got 120.
Yeah, that's what's up. And then spenders, I spent a crap ton of sats.
Is that Blockchain Boog? I wonder if that's him. He's the one that always boosts us. Actually, I think he's looking at boost. Let me go into the boost. Why you do that? Let me see here. Let's see. We have boost past 7 days. Whoa, this is a lot of sats. Blockchain Boog says we need those sats, pump. He liked my joke. Thank you, Blockchain Boog. You're one of my faves. Yeah, we do need those sats, pump. We need to pump
I was
it
a
up.
little bit afraid. I thought this was saying I had spent $1 million like 1.7 million.
Why would that be a bad thing?
That's over.
Circle the economy. Come
I know.
on, let's go.
I am trying to circulate all the sats I'm rewarded, and that's what this suggests here. I've spent like over 400,000 sats, but I thought this forever one
How
was
much have I spent? I'm just curious.
this week or forever.
Just forever.
Let's see.
Oh, look at me! I spent 136,000 sats.
Yeah, dude. You're in
See?
the top 21.
I'm in the top 21,
Another thing interesting to note
and I'm just a pleb.
since the reward change, look, there's over 21 people earning like $2 a week on Stacker News. So like everyone here is earning
Cypher Poet? Yeah, Cypher Poet dropped some good content though.
$2 a week or more. And
Crypto Coin, I've been seeing him more. Tom Layes, I'm sorry. Tom is also doing.
yeah, lots of
Cool, man.
yeah, people are earning more and more, and that's really cool to see.
Cool. What else you got? Is that it?
That's it. That's all I've got.
Well, would you look at that? 45-minute mark. These are getting longer.
Perfect. What were the comments that we had?
Just blockchain book. He
Just,
said Pomp needs
Pomp-
to give us some sats, which I don't disagree with.
No, I'd take all of Pomp Sats.
So what's your next recourse for Airbnb?
I don't know. I got to figure it out. But
Whatever you
I'm
do,
ready to battle.
Update us on the daily community thread that we do. That'd be cool. All right. We'll see you next time, Stacker News.
Zap.